ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Smart Take Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. It's been a bit, but we are your hosts, Donnie Wonderful and Joey Business, and we are just live trying to digest what the hell we just saw again. I know it sounds like a repeat. It's not.
It isn't. We promise that it isn't. We just finished watching TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. And I first want to begin with, I thought the pay-per-view started at 8 p.m. For some reason, I'm under the impression that still under the impression that SummerSlam and WrestleMania are the only pay-per-views that start early.
The big four.
What time did Survivor Series start? Survivor 7. Survivor this year started at 7.
Yeah.
But traditionally it would start at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, most of them, it's very strange the way they're switching it up. I think now that I'm realizing it, because it's gone in the background, the Broken Skull sessions, since they're going to do these after every single pay-per-view, I think that's the new starting point. I think it will be 7, because these are about an hour and a half
Okay. I guess that makes sense, because typically, I know WrestleMania went on for like 17 hours, but like for SummerSlam, if this was SummerSlam, if this was SummerSlam, we'd still be watching the event. It's a little after 10 o'clock now, and now the Broken Skull sessions is on, and I think that's a great way to segue Stone Cold's interviews, because they're great interviews. If you guys haven't seen the one with The Undertaker, I need to go back and finish watching the whole entire thing.
Oh, you need to check it out. Tonight's
guest is Bill Goldberg. We have it on mute now because we both intend on actually investing the time to seriously break this thing down, but some great content there. As Joey said, when I got here, it's the best thing on WWE.
It is by far right now.
The WWE app thus far, but
besides NXT and
NXT is on USA now.
Yeah, but it's also on the WWE app, the archives. So.
Oh yeah.
But the Broken Skull sessions, otherwise known as the bump Charlotte Flair, just took 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we have to talk about this TLC pay-per-view here.
This TLC was a mess. It was a hot mess.
So I think overall, I can't wait. I can't wait for one of these episodes where we grossly disagree with each other.
I can't wait for it either, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I said right after this, or maybe even during the main event, that TLC is one of the pay-per-views that the WWE can go without.
It's expendable.
It's expendable, and that's we're probably gonna have an episode where we go over every pay-per-view lineup that they have for each month and say, all right, which one should stay, which one should go. I think if they had a pay-per-view, I think 6 of them is good. Give us a half a year pay-per-views.
I think I'm fine with that.
And make them bi-monthly. Give us 2 months to really fall in love with what we see on the television, and then have a good go home show, and then a stronger pay-per-view. What you think?
I like that. I could even go as far as to give us 8 or 9 pay-per-views. I'd be okay. Because I think we get somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 16 right now, which is just way too many.
Well, I think we only get 12. There was a time where we was getting about 20 when each brand had their pay-per-view.
No, we're getting more than just the 12. Because we get those bit pay-per-views too. Some months have multiple pay-per-views. We've had a couple of them.
Yeah.
So we got at least 14 a year, let's call it. At least a minimum of 14. Which is too much.
Yeah, and I guess that's what makes me desensitized to the importance of pay-per-views, and that's why I'm judging TLC so poorly.
It's bad.
There's way too much of them. Now, again,
remember, we just had Survivor Series 2 weeks ago.
Was that 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
That's what I mean. And we're going to get Royal Rumble, but I think we're going to get a pay-per-view in between Royal Rumble.
I hope. No, we can't. They said this was the last pay-per-view.
Oh, last pay-per-view of the decade.
Yeah,
that's true. You're right.
Which is monumental, by the way.
It is huge. And it was a bad one to go out on. It's just, we segue all the time on the show and we jump around in tangent. And anyone who listens to any podcast I do, I tangent all the time. This is what AEW is doing right.
Yeah.
They've only had 2 pay-per-views.
Yep.
and well, 2 main pay-per-views. They had All Out, All In. I'm sorry, they had All Out. Fight for the Fallen. Yeah, Double or Nothing, Fight for the Fallen, and Full Gear. So they've had 3. They've had 3 total.
Okay.
Since it's been AEW TNT. They've only had 1 since they've been on TNT.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have 1 until at least January, maybe the end of January.
Right, yeah.
February, actually, it might be. That's the way you do it. You need to have, like you said, give us time to fall in love with what we're seeing on product, on TV. And you have title defenses on TV. Not every week. You don't have to do that. But maybe every 2 to 3 weeks you have a title defense. Something like that. Just to kind of wet your whistle. They're doing a good job with it. AEW is really, really cooking, in my view. They're really bringing the old school feel back. And something I need to get into, I've been told to get into it big time, and I probably will now that Marty Scurll has just joined it, is NWA Power. I hear that is unbelievable how well they do it, the old school feel. WWE is they're 2 steps forward, 1 step back for everything they're doing but NXT right now, in my view.
Really?
Yeah, NXT's phenomenal. You can't stop the momentum of that. Keith Lee, all the people that they build, they're constantly cycling a new crop of stars. It's the one thing WWE can't seem to do. The main roster cannot seem to get past a certain level of who they make as marquee main eventers. Whereas NXT, they're so versatile that, one could go down tomorrow and somebody else is going to pop up in their place. And it's almost seamless. Like Keith Lee, would you have thought Keith Lee would be this household brand name? No. Didn't really have the look.
Right.
Was kind of average. But man, he's anything but average in the ring.
Exactly. I agree. And it's funny you mentioned tangents because this is exactly what we're going on. This originally, when we plugged in the mic, we were going to just really go over the pay-per-view.
The pay-per-view.
But I mean, we may or may not venture down those alleys. But one thing I said when we were speaking, of course, this is off air, off camera. What AEW is doing right, and I want to share this mentality and this thought process with you, our listeners. So I was saying that to be a sports entertainer, I do that with the air quotes, even though you guys can't see me, but to be a sports entertainer, or as we like to still refer them to as professional wrestler, it's not like you're going to wake up and go into the gym and decide one day that you're a wrestler. No, you actually have to train hard, and you have to go through the process of paying your dues.
Yeah.
There's a locker room full of guys that started off in the indies and that really take the time to master the craft. So with that being said, everybody on the roster deserves to be there. I use the example of Titus O'Neil, who's in phenomenal shape. Great. And who trains. These guys train, so it shouldn't be
a mismatch.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a mismatch. Like almost anybody in that locker room. Hell, Zack Ryder should be able to compete for the WWE Championship, or the Universal Championship.
Agreed.
and it should be a competitive match. I don't think squashes should be. Anybody that's not a jobber, and I'm talking about the traditional jobber.
Right.
There should be no squashes. No. There should be no squashes. I watch AEW. Every single one of those matches are competitive.
Yeah.
I don't care who's against. Yeah. And I know, just a few weeks ago, Chris Jericho wrestled Scorpio Sky.
That was great.
It was a great match. It's supposed to be competitive. Scorpio Sky is a professional wrestler. He's on this professional and platform for a reason. Everybody's there for a reason. It's competitive. We were talking today. At the time 10-3 New England Patriots, our home team, which we absolutely love, played at the time 1-12 Cincinnati Bengals, and for about 3.5 quarters it was competitive.
Yeah.
But these are the best in the world at the sport. So, if Roman Reigns fought Kurt Hawkins, that deserves to be a competitive match.
Agreed.
And that's what, and that keeps the sport element alive for me. It's kind of like in boxing. Okay, you can have the heavyweight champ fight not necessarily a laundromat worker, but somebody who's ranked. He's going to win at some point, but he still goes through it. We're not surprised if it goes past 4 rounds. Yeah. I mean, what do you think of that theory?
No, I agree. It's like my dad used to say. He used to say, if you're a quarterback in the NFL, you're the top of the pedigree. You should be out there being able to be interchangeable, and maybe your skill set and maybe your weapons, so to speak, aren't as good as, say, Tom Brady's, but you should be able to go out there and play football for 60 minutes and not be completely outclassed. You should be able to make it competitive. That's where the phrase "any given Sunday" comes from. With sports entertainment, because it is have a scripted element, even though it is very real, and we'll go back to Charlotte Flair taking that nasty bump. I mean, that was vicious.
Vicious.
It's real, but it is predetermined. So the audience is also become conditioned and predetermined to see a guy like one of my favorites, and you mentioned him, Zack Ryder. And I love him. He's a fellow toy collector just like me. We're nuts for action figures. But when you see him go out there against, let's say, Ivar and Eric from the Viking Raiders, the audience is conditioned to go, he's getting squashed.
Right.
Which is bullshit, because Zack Ryder's been around for about 9 years now. Almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who's a veteran, technically, and he should go out there and be able to make a competitive match. But no, you're conditioned to, it's Zack Ryder, he's getting squashed. Or, it's Kurt Hawkins, he's on a losing streak, he's getting squashed.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that. And that's the thing that AEW does very well, like you said. You've got people like Darby Allin, who, other than AEW, most people haven't heard of. But he's going toe-to-toe with Chris Jericho. Mm-hmm. He's not getting squashed in 2 minutes.
Exactly.
He's got a good 10-minute to 11-minute competitive match that you knew Jericho was going to win from a booking perspective.
Right.
But he still made it. The kid got time to shine. And WWE is lacking that. They're not giving you any more showcase opportunities. It's more of, okay, go out there. This guy's obviously gonna win, and this guy's obviously gonna lose.
And like in contrast, NXT doesn't. NXT does the opposite.
Right.
You can sit back and watch an NXT show and feel it, even if you're unfamiliar with the talent there.
Yeah.
You can watch and be entertained seeing these two gladiators actually compete, and it feels like they're competing to win. They bring over Finn Balor, and he hasn't missed the step or missed the beat or whatever.
Phenomenal.
Whatever the saying goes.
So good.
Like he fits in very well there, and I think it's a good look for him. There are more competitive matches elsewhere outside of the primary 2 brands on the main roster.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's time that we acknowledge like the hard work that these guys really put in, and stop squashing them, because in reality, man, these guys spend a lot of time in the gym. Everything I said before, you spend a lot of time working on your craft, and they paid their dues, and they have years in this.
None of them are pushovers.
None of them are pushovers, so they should stop being treated like it.
Yeah.
And what that does is that it just opens up the roster for us to see different things. I mean, we were taught when we walked in. Well, at least when I walked in, King Corbin, was fighting Roman Reigns yet again.
Horrible.
And even though we know the role that King Corbin was going on, we kind of knew how the match was going to end. And all I kept saying is, please, why can't it just be clean?
Right, clean. Nope, couldn't be. It had to be an overbooked melee mess, and it was stupid. But talking about Finn Balor is a great look in NXT. They need to use that model a little bit more on guys that they're not using. Like Dolph Ziggler should get his ass to NXT fast, because he would put on high spot after match, after clinic, after everything. I mean, you'd get 5-star matches all the time just by him sneezing. Dolph Ziggler's so good.
But at the expense of getting those 5-star matches, you do lose the spot in the pay-per-views. I mean, we have oversaturation of pay-per-views. But I would love to see Dolph Ziggler over at NXT. But I definitely would love to see Dolph Ziggler on pay-per-view cards as well.
Well, you could get him on a Takeover, which, by the way, Takeover is the best pay-per-views WWE produces and has been for a couple of years now. Time in, time out, they're by far the best.
Yeah.
No, name a bad Takeover. You can't.
That's true.
You can't. Every match. I mean, Jesus, look at the last one, War Games.
Mm-hmm.
The freaking spot off the top of the cage with Adam Cole. You thought he was dead with Tommaso Ciampa. But they do it so well, and they protect each other, and they're really good at their craft. Mm-hmm. And they're so smart now that NXT has developed from, it used to be a third-party developmental brand, to it is its own brand now. People identify with it. Yeah, okay, it's no longer, you're mini WWE. No, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
And the Invasion did a great job of, captivating people and making them realize that this is a force.
Yeah, I think the blessing in disguise was that halted trip over from Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
I think it really helped NXT. Survivor Series really, really, really pushed NXT up to a different caliber. And I think we expect great wrestling and a great product from them. However, they're left off of the pay-per-views.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You just said it, and it was a great idea, and it was a great remark, rather. We got arguably the best couple weeks of WWE television all year round by an accident, by a delayed plane. Because what it did was it forced people on the fly to come up with something superior to what the writers churn in every week. Now, I ask you, this is the same thing as the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady thing to me. If you can play third quarter and fourth quarter of stellar football, why are you always wasting the first two quarters every single friggin' week? Putting out subpar, they look like they're unmotivated until they go in and make those halftime adjustments. So same thing with NXT and same thing with WWE. NXT always gives us a good show. It's not always an A show every week on, the USA Network. The Wednesday night is not always the top night of wrestling as far as NXT goes. Because most of the time I tip my hat to AEW in that corner. Because it's just a better show. However, this is the shit that we get when a plane gets delayed. And it's far superior to everything that we've gotten prior to that week. Why can't we have that attitude and that sense of urgency every week? Why can't they say, you know what? We had a really good show last week. Let's continue that momentum and see what else we can do. No, they go, let's give you Roman Reigns versus friggin' Baron Corbin for the 6th week in a row or some variation of it. And then we'll give you a pay-per-view feud. Also the same as, i.e., Bobby Lashley and Rusev. I've seen them go against each other at least 8 times in the last month. Right. Why do I need to see it again? It's stupid.
Well, to go back on what you were saying, again, I agree with that 100% wholeheartedly. I guess when we were watching TLC, when we were watching the Bray Wyatt Miz match,
best part of the whole pay-per-view.
Best part of the pay-per-view. You did mention that Bray, you loved him coming out as Bray.
I loved it.
And you loved the creative direction.
Love it.
And then you also mentioned that he has control over his creative direction.
Yeah, he's clearly got control, and he's created a duality character, and he's doing it right. He's not just changing clothes.
Right.
His mannerisms, his facial expressions, the way he wrestles is more of just a punching bag style. He gets beat up and then kind of almost like a Eugene. You push him over the edge and then he snaps on you. And I love it. I dig it because Bray and The Fiend are coming off as two very separate people, which is what they need.
So do you think, and this is also a question to anyone listening, do you think that, I mean, and this could be a unanimous yes or hell yeah or of course.
Yes.
But do you think that there needs to be more control in the more creative control given to the performers themselves, rather than have the right. Do you think the talent should steer the direction in which
yes, 100%, 100%, because look again. I hate to keep saying it. Look at AEW, and I'll give you one example of why the talent needs to have their own creative control. Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's a household name. The number one guy in 2019 in wrestling, in my view. He was the name in wrestling all year round. And he didn't wrestle most of the year. He wrestled about half the year. But here's the deal. That guy is starkly different than the Dean Ambrose that you saw in WWE, who was shackled, who was miserable in his on-air role, and you could tell was just going with the motions because he had no choice. It was either do this or you got no job. Whereas AEW is like, hey, what do you think your character would do? And they just give him freedom. And he's just an ass kicker. And he's much more natural.
He sure is.
And he's great. He's going to be their champion. He's definitely going to be AEW champion next year at some point. I don't know when, but he'll be it.
But the question is, will he join the Inner Circle?
I love that tease. I love that tease. It might be smart to have him do it short term.
Hey, I mean, if you guys are watching the product, you know what we're talking about. But we're going to take this opportunity to take our first break. Well, we only take one break. And we'll be right back. I'm going to go grab me a caffeinated beverage. And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
And just like that, we're back.
The magic of editing, folks.
The magic of editing. What was apparently to you guys, what was probably about, maybe like 10 seconds, was a beautiful 5, 10, 15-minute break. I don't know, time flies by when you're having fun. And we were even having dialogue off the podcast, Mike. That should have made the damn.
Should have been recorded. I know we have the biggest habit of like our best stuff happens off the mic. I don't know why. And we've again got the Broken Skull sessions with Goldberg on in the background with Austin, and they're showing some of the most amazing moments and infamous moments in WCW history. For instance, we saw one of my favorite moments, which was Hogan losing the title at the Georgia Dome. That is just one of those all-time great moments. But then they go and show one of the worst moments. Starrcade 98, which was Nash versus Goldberg with the infamous cattle prod finish.
Wait, no, I think was that 98?
98.
The cattle prod finish.
Horrible.
Poor thing.
But that's going to be up on the WWE Network for all you guys to check out.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get back to the shit we were talking about.
We left off with
Moxley
Jon Moxley in the Inner Circle. I think that's a great fit, and it doesn't even matter. I think AEW is doing such a great job booking that, I'm gonna be grasped hook, line, and sinker for almost anything they do because, to me they can do no wrong.
That right now, so I will say this: I heard the original plan for the Inner Circle, and I really enjoyed it a little bit more than what we actually got.
What was the original?
Originally, we were supposed to get the Lucha Brothers instead of LAX.
It's
Ortiz and Santana and Ortiz. However, they've proven me wrong. I've never been the biggest LAX fan ever, but they really did prove me wrong. Sammy Guevara is one of those guys, though, I am 100% not sold on. I just don't see the appeal at all. I would have liked, Darby Allin in it. I think his, Outcast style would have fit a little bit better.
I got a good wild card.
Who?
I must preface it that I'm a major fan.
Okay.
He doesn't fit this at all, but I just
Scorpio
think it's
Sky?
No, not Scorpio Sky.
Oh.
Orange Cassidy.
Oh, man.
I love Orange Cassidy.
Dude, he's got good spots, but his gimmick is in such a... He paints himself into such a corner with that gimmick, though, because the day he actually has to, have a competitive wrestling match. The gimmick's over.
I could care less if he has a competitive wrestling match. I just want more.
Dude, that spot though when he has his hands in his pockets and he planches over the ropes is amazing.
Beautiful. Shout out to Orange Cassidy. I follow him on Instagram.
No, you know who I would have loved in the Inner Circle, to be honest with you, if you have to have a tag team? Hear me out. It's a little wild. Private Party would have been cool.
You guys can't see how I'm looking at him. I became a fan of Private Party after
AEW Boston.
Yeah, AEW Boston. I didn't expect them to beat the Bucks.
No, I didn't expect them to be that good.
True.
But yeah, True. Private Party. They've got the young, cool gimmick going on. They would fit in with Jericho. We'd have some wild mic time.
But so does Sammy Guevara. Like, have you seen like all the things?
I just can't stand him. I don't like him. So Moxley in the Inner Circle would be a fantastic fit, and MJF would be okay in the Inner Circle.
Yeah,
I'm okay with certain people. I just don't want it to get NWO big. I want it to stay, maybe 7 guys at the very, very most.
No, that's too much.
6 or 7 is fine.
6 is too much now, too. I mean, like, I wouldn't go over 5.
I don't know. I think Moxley has a good short-term point of being in the Inner Circle for a little while. I think that could go well. Mm-hmm. It will keep them apart creatively as far as how do we keep them from being at each other's throats for the title.
Right.
So it separates them there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can build the slow build. Now, Jericho's got the cruise coming up in January, which they'll be on the cruise. Yeah, you didn't know about that. Jericho's Rock and Rager is every January.
Okay.
So they're going to have a 2-night AEW taping live on the cruise.
Oh, wow.
Because they did ROH last time on his cruise. This time they're going to do AEW taping, and the matches are going to take place at sea.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the show that comes up this week on Wednesday is our last new AEW for the year. We don't get anything the following week, and we don't get anything, I think, the week after that. It picks up in January, like 7th or 8th or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they take a 2-week break. They go on a little hiatus. NXT's the same way, I believe. I think NXT after this week is off. You'll get like the best of 2019 for 2 weeks in a row or something. So that's why NXT is pushing Finn is it Finn? Is it Finn versus Adam Cole? Who won the 3-way? Finn won the 3-way, right? Yeah, so Finn versus Adam Cole is this week. So they're desperately trying. And AEW, NXT, to their credit, is catching up with AEW in the ratings. It's a volley back and forth. It's at least competitive, Sometimes AEW's ahead. Sometimes NXT's neck and neck. 1 week NXT was ahead by like 100,000. And it was only because you had Finn Balor return.
I know it was not that one. The week they won is when AJ Styles and the OC.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. When Becky Lynch and AJ Styles and you're right.
The invasion
angle. Yeah, that made sense because it was like carryover. So we said we would talk about TLC, so we might as well not be liars. But I'll be honest with you, folks. There wasn't too much to talk about. What we missed was probably the best. Because the show opened up with the ladder match between the New Day and the Revival. And I love both teams, but Donnie and I are huge Revival fans.
Yes.
They're underutilized, they're underpaid, and they're top guys.
Absolutely. And I'm actually, and I'm also a great New Day fan.
I love the New Day.
And to their credit, they've had great matches at TLC for like the past, I want to say maybe 3 years. I don't remember the year. It was the first classic, in my opinion, or one of the classics they had at TLC was the year when they fought the Usos and the Lucha Dragons.
Yeah, that was really good.
And that opened the show. That was here in Boston, and I was there, and everybody was on pins and needles. Everybody was at the edge of their seat.
Yeah.
That to me, that was the last great TLC. Honestly.
It was 2017.
Yeah,
it definitely was. Last year's was a forgettable show.
Yeah.
In this year's, if I have to give it a grade, it gets a solid D.
Oh, and we're gonna let you guys know. Going forth, we're gonna actually when Royal Rumble time, we're gonna debut.
We're gonna debut
our grading system.
Yes.
Trust me, you don't want to miss any of our podcasts or interviews. But still, you definitely don't want to miss the upcoming review shows.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we're definitely going to be getting a lot more consistent content with talent over the next year.
For sure.
We're hunting. We're on the hunt for it. We got a good Scott Steiner interview that we put up, but we're going to be really going around the road and checking on where things are going on, and we're going to get you some up and coming talent, local and otherwise. We're going to definitely try to keep it more wrestling oriented as far as talent and interviews, and we're going to get the podcast as much as we can. Figure the podcast will be pretty much every time a pay-per-view comes out, because that's when we really schedule-wise we meet. Mm-hmm. Unless something occurs that we can start meeting up a little bit quicker, that will happen. But we're gonna try to keep it as consistent as possible.
Oh yeah. And we're also going to we have a good formula where some of the shows we talk about the pay-per-views we just watched, and then there's some of the shows where we just have a theme and we just go after it.
Yeah.
So like those are always fun. If you guys haven't please check the playlist and listen to some of the shows that we had. One of my favorite ones is when we guest book WrestleMania.
That was great. Boost those numbers, people. Seriously, because it's good stuff. Yeah, I'm still spitting out water on your Brock Lesnar main event. Like oh man, it was great though. That was really good. You know what's funny is I realized that neither one of us, because looking at it right here, neither one of us had Goldberg in our pay-per-view.
That's true.
And which you would think, he was pretty big back then. We would have had him, but we just didn't. So I gave TLC a solid D, and I think I might be a little bit too harsh on it because the content that was good on tonight's show was phenomenally good. The content that was bad was abhorrently bad.
So you gave it a D.
I'll give it a C minus.
Okay, because I was gonna go. I was gonna go C. It's not like I enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna go C. I'll go C minus.
But to me it was average. Even the bad matches had some brilliance in it, in my opinion. We're definitely gonna clash heads when it comes to this match here, but
so
Bobby Lashley and Rusev.
Oh my
I'm going
God,
there.
that was so trash. That
But
match was trash. The booking was trash. The feud was trash. The Bobby should have stayed off the pay-per-view. I
love the TMZ video package for it.
That was interesting, but other than that, it was just awful. Both men deserve better. Lashley, you got to remember, I'm somebody who follows wrestling in pretty much all its forms and all its iterations. Wow, you got Jeff Goldblum on there. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Lashley was a really good talent hand in TNA.
Yes.
He was when he was was he Almighty in TNA?
No.
What was he?
No, he wasn't the Almighty in TNA.
I forget his gimmick, but it was really well done. He was more of like a mercenary style champion.
Yeah.
He was really good, and he had some great matches with Drew McIntyre, Kurt Angle, bunch of people he was in there with. His title matches weren't forgettable. He wasn't a forgettable champion. He was well done. But they gave him the character of the Almighty here in WWE when he came back. Listen, the one match everyone wants is they want friggin' Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg.
Oh,
Brock Lesnar. I got them mixed up for a second. He wants Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Just give us that match. Why not? Brock needs a new face to challenge. Lashley needs something way out of his comfort zone. He needs to ditch Lana. It's an awful, awful look for him. He needs to get the hell away from anyone who speaks, i.e. What's his name? I was gonna say
Leo
Lupe
Rush?
Fiasco, but
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush.
I was actually just thinking about him because that to me that's what really sold the almighty Bobby Lashley is when he had Leo Rush as his mouthpiece. I thought that was a really good. I know that was a really good pair.
It was a horrible pairing.
It was a good pair. We disagree on something.
Finally, and here come the gloves.
That was a great pair.
Ding ding. We had a good run. No, it was horrible pairing because here you go. I mean, yeah. Of course, you can't have a guy who is bigger than Bobby Lashley be his mouthpiece because that would be stupid.
Exactly.
But
Napoleon complex and everything.
Leo Rush was terrible.
You didn't like Leo?
No.
Oh, Leo, you my boy, Leo.
Leo's junk. But that's fine. But Bobby Lashley's character, he's the almighty. You still could have really gave him a badass fight. Like he needs a killer instinct. He needs to just come out.
That is true.
Everyone's got the spear, so stay away from the spear. Come out, use the fucking Dominator. Ahmed Johnson's Dominator. Just come out.
You mean Farouk's Dominator?
Yeah, what did Ahmed Johnson have?
The Pearl River Plunge.
The Pearl River Plunge. Just come out and do either the Dominator or the Pearl River Plunge. I don't know which one. But do the one where you put them up over your shoulder and flapjack them down.
Yeah.
Just beat the shit out of people and leave. Beat the shit out of people and leave. The only feud that I've gotten into since Lashley's been here is Lashley versus Roman. And it wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. When they had that match at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad.
Or Extreme Rules is one of those things. It began with an E, so it's one of those.
That's the one.
Things.
Extreme Rules. There you go.
Yeah, but well, okay. All right, Bobby Lashley. He had didn't he have something going on with Braun?
Yeah, that would have been fine too. It just fizzled out because it got turned into Braun. I mean, it got turned into Corbin, Lashley, and who the hell was the third person?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. McIntyre, Corbin, Lashley. It was that little triumvirate for a little while. And I think the Shield went against. See, this is what I'm saying. It's so muddled with WWE TV. So, anyways, Bobby Lashley and Lana shouldn't have been on my TV tonight at all. The other match, we missed it, and it was apparently a bloodbath. Was Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy, which I will go and watch. I will take the 10 minutes on my time to watch that. I need to see it.
Yes.
So, and I know that will be good because both hands in it are good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you got the big dog. Roman Reigns versus the little dog, Baron Corbin.
And the dog food.
So that shit was bad too. It was a serviceable looking match that was overbooked to absolute horror at the end.
What I mentioned and we mentioned, on the first half of the show, we kind of knew what was happening, and we kind of knew Baron was going to win, and I was just saying, let it be clean. I think that the big dog doesn't lose any steam if he loses clean. And again,
I agree.
This goes back to what I mentioned previously. Everybody in that locker room deserves to be there. These are the best of the best. It can happen. We don't need all these run-ins all the time.
No, if you're gonna put the jetpack on Corbin, and have him get pushed, then put the jetpack on him.
Agreed.
And let it be. But let him do it, organically. The other thing is, let's continue with the bad. The main event was bad. It was laughably bad.
I said it was so ignorant, it was brilliant.
It was. It had manic genius to it, like you said. Accidental genius, I think your term was. Manic genius just shows like how frantic they were in the ring. Here's how I think it came off. Asuka's a great talent. She's one of the best. They've ruined her by putting her with the Goldberg complex.
Yeah.
She went like 987 days or something along those lines, undefeated. Well, when you're that high booked and you book yourself into a corner, because when you become that kind of a powerhouse, there has to be the eventual loss.
Yeah.
So how you do the loss needs to be handled very delicately. And they screwed her big time. They gave Charlotte Flair the win at WrestleMania. And yeah, did Charlotte deserve the win? She did. but the fashion that it went down, it was almost too easy for Charlotte, and Asuka became an afterthought. She didn't get any steam or heat back right away after. She kept losing for a couple months, and then started re-winning, but it was too late by then.
Yeah.
It was basically the Scott Hall and Goldberg thing. Once they did the cattle prod, you took away and killed.
Kevin Nash and Goldberg.
Yeah, what Scott Hall cattle prodded him.
Oh yeah.
So you took away the mystique and ruined Goldberg for WCW all the way through his run. You ruined him. You had a monster, and maybe that's why I keep saying Goldberg, because he's in front of me right now on my TV. You had a monster, and your sheer booking moronic sensibility just ruined him completely. Because they tried to salvage a feud out of it and make him go one-on-one with Scott Hall. Right. That feud was horrible. Then he went into obscurity for a little while and then came back because he had an injury to his arm that was legit. Yeah. Came back, and then it was just he never picked up steam again.
So you think that creative did the same thing with Asuka?
Yeah. Asuka, there was a reason why Triple H was so protective of her in NXT and did not want to relinquish her to the main roster. He even said it. You can poach anyone. Back a couple years ago, this was his words. Poach anyone. You can't take Asuka from me. You can't take Asuka. I will keep her. And he was very protective of her. And then, finally, the call from, the big man upstairs said, we're taking Asuka. And he's like, oh, shit. And she lost.
So you think she's damaged goods?
I think she's completely damaged good. The only thing that saves her right now is this re-teaming with Kairi Sane and the Kabuki Warriors. And the fact that they retained tonight, which I really thought they were going to lose to the new Mega Powers of Becky and
that's right,
Charlotte.
Yeah. Joey Business kept referring to them as the new Mega Powers.
Yeah, the man and the
queen and the queen. The queen and the man, the man and the queen, the queen and the man, whichever one. The queen and the man. I thought they were going to win tonight. I really did. There was a few botches in this match.
There was multiple botches.
And
I will have to say, it had nothing to do with Becky, Charlotte, or Asuka. Kairi Sane, who is a very big talent, who I like a lot, she was just way off her game tonight. She was all over the place. There was multiple spots. Like, there was a spot where she was getting chased around the ring, in the middle of the ring with a chair, and she didn't know, we know she was going to get hit with a chair.
Right.
But she was playing it like she wasn't going to get hit with a chair. It was like cower in a fetal position. And we're like, what the hell is she doing? Then there's the infamous, it's worth watching the match alone just for this one spot on the outside, where Charlotte, digs in her hooves, and she's plowing ahead at Kairi Sane for the spear. She spears her in the gut directly. And Kairi Sane just kind of holds her and hugs her. Doesn't fall down.
Oh, she no-sold.
Yeah, she no-sold the spear. And then fell down. Charlotte's like, well, screw this. I'm going to salvage it with a power bomb. She picks up this limp noodle of, of a Kabuki warrior. And she could barely, pull her up to get her into the powerbomb position.
Visually, it was pretty
If it sounds terrible that what we're describing, our eyes are going to tell you it's worse. And Charlotte took 2 nasty bumps in this match.
If she didn't take 2 nasty bumps, she sold the holy hell out of them.
No, she took 2 nasty bumps. We're going to find out she's injured. First of all, she got whacked in the back of the head with the chair the wrong way. They hit her with the legs of the chair in the back of the head on the floor. And then the power bomb to the outside. Oh my God. Her head was 5 to 6 inches off of the table and came straight down on the back of her cranium. Just crack right onto the ground. And both times Charlotte let out an audible, fuck! She got to put money in the swear jar tonight.
Yeah, she definitely did. It was there was a lot of botches.
There was a lot of botches. You can also tell the finish was not the finish because they weren't planning on Charlotte being out like that, and they panned back to her for a second, and then they panned away from her. And the King, I love the King. We were talking about this. We love old school Jerry Lawler. New school Jerry Lawler, he's gots to go. He just holds the commentary back. He's like, "Where's Charlotte? Where's Charlotte? You know where she is. She's outside dead. Like, you know where she is."
Oh man, look, if you guys have, an hour to about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to kill, to spare, click on 2019's Tables,
TLC.
Ladders, and Chairs and tell us what you thought about it. I mean, there really isn't much that stood out for me.
Oh yeah, but now we're getting to where it stood out.
Well, before we get there, this is one of the reasons, our dialogue as it was happening was, there's way too many pay-per-views.
Yeah, no, there's
way, way, way too many pay-per-views, and we're definitely gonna have to minimize what as much as they put out. There's way too many of them.
They gotta cut the fat.
I'm desensitized to TLCs, to the backlashes, because there's one every single month.
They gotta cut the fat. There's got to be at least 5 pay-per-views that get cut. They've got to go. You got to make something special. I mean, months with a SummerSlam, you can have okay, here's the paper. This is what I would keep for pay-per-view lineup if you want my pay-per-view lineup.
Sure, yeah, let's go right into it.
January, Royal Rumble. That's it. February, Elimination Chamber. Nothing wrong with the build-up to WrestleMania, because I like those lead-in pay-per-views. They get you hyped.
Okay.
March, I'd have nothing.
Okay.
April, WrestleMania. May, I'd have Backlash.
Okay.
June, I'd have nothing.
Yeah.
July, I'd have Money in the Bank has become a staple that I thoroughly enjoy for the Money in the Bank itself.
Okay.
I'd have that. August,
5.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, 6.
And then I would have nothing in September. I'd have Hell in the Cell in October.
Okay.
Survivor Series. And that's it.
You ended with Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. Of course, I'm going to keep the what was it, what did they used to call it in the old New Generation era, like the Big Four,
King of the Ring.
I was going to get to that, but I'm talking about the Royal Rumble, of course, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Okay,
those are the Big Four.
So we're going to keep the Big Four. I am going to Backlash used to have a special place in my heart.
Me too.
But there's really not. Well, there's been. All right, we're gonna throw Backlash in there. And I'm not gonna allocate a month to them. I'm just gonna say the ones I would keep, because I know I'm only keeping 6.
Okay.
So that's 5, and then I'm ending it with Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And I guess if I had to pick one more, like pay-per-views like Fastlane, we're never seeing those again.
Never.
No. It's a toss-up, because elimination. There have been some great elimination chambers, but Money in the Bank, those are pretty climatic. Though I would substitute it. Okay. I'm gonna throw the Money in the Bank as an episode of Raw or SmackDown, because it's gonna give me a themed Monday or Friday night now, and I'm going to add the King of the Ring, only because I'm gonna allocate that to be in June, because the way the King of the Ring used to work is the winner of the King of the Ring,
SummerSlam title shot.
Would get the SummerSlam title shot. So
Yeah, sure.
I'd bring that back, except for Brett. Brett won the first King of the Ring pay-per-view, and went on to SummerSlam to fight Jerry Lawler instead. But after that, usually the King of the Ring winner.
Oh, I loved it. It was great.
You know that there's a title shot coming with that. So I keep those. So the Big Four, Backlash, and King of the Ring.
Okay. See, Money in the Bank has become the new King of the Ring for me. Money in the Bank is the big title shot opportunity. It's the spectacular. I think it does what King of the Ring failed to do in latter years. The last good King of the Ring you had was Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
In my view. So, because he had William Regal as King of the Ring one year and he did nothing.
Well, that's it wasn't it was no longer a pay-per-view.
I know, but it was nothing. It was the title that just got chucked on him.
So we actually should go in detail with this, because like one of the big things about the King of the Ring is it was a tournament style pay-per-view.
Yep.
But of course it took place in one night.
Yeah, but it was a career launching pad.
It sure was.
Supposed to be, at least.
And actually, that may have been the first pay-per-view where I ever seen The Undertaker lose clean.
Yep. See, I thoroughly enjoy Elimination Chamber. So, I love that style.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta go back. I gotta take Backlash away.
That's what I'm saying.
I gotta take Backlash off, because Hell in a Cell is...
That's why I kept it in October. Because it would be like a Halloween style. I love it. Actually, fuck that. I would eliminate Hell in a Cell, and I'd throw myself in WWE Halloween Havoc, because I love my Halloween Havoc so much.
But that's a traditional WCW.
Ah, whatever. Then it's staying Hell in a Cell. Screw my fun.
But back to TLC, you gave it. You changed the grade to a C-.
Yeah, I gave it a C-, and only for this part, and I'm glad we swooped it all back to the tangent. So Bray Wyatt went against The Miz, but he went against The Miz's Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I told you that there was a chance that was going to happen, and I think it was brilliant. I know a lot of people were skeptical at first, but here's the deal. You knew that Fiend Bray Wyatt would have absolutely annihilated The Miz. Wasn't a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So add in Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. There was always the chance that The Miz would have pulled out the win.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the question of what music would Bray come out to, which I said it would be the Firefly Funhouse, and it was. And I wanted to see what they were going to do with it. Because Bray's got such a good hold on his character that I'm sitting there going, he's going to come out and he's going to wrestle in two different styles. This character, this part of his alter ego, is going to be a much less aggressive Bray Wyatt. And he was. He was basically a punching bag who just took punishment until he finally hit that snapping point and then just finished the match.
Yeah.
Which is great, because you have Bray Wyatt. Now it's no longer a devious thing where you think that Bray Wyatt is in control of the Fiend. You have Bray Wyatt in a situation now where it looks like Bray Wyatt's not even sure who the Fiend is. Like, they're two separate people.
Yeah.
And that's what works.
I loved his entrance to the ring.
I loved it. The waving.
The waving. He was over.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were watching it, I didn't think that it would be trumped by anything. Except for what it actually was trumped by.
Yeah, when the lights went out and the lights came back on after Bray won, everyone assumed, you got the doom. You knew you were gonna get the "Let Me In." That's what we thought we were gonna see with the Fiend music and that screeching.
Yep.
But the lights came on and you got a maroon hoodie. And as soon as I saw the hoodie was maroon, I said, "Holy shit!" I knew it was going to be Daniel Bryan, but I was like, "Oh my God, we're getting American Dragon Daniel Bryan back," and we got American Dragon Daniel Bryan back, and now you've just reinvigorated Daniel Bryan from a loss.
You sure have.
Now you've brought him back, because Daniel Bryan as Daniel Bryan character has always been, he's been tough as nails, but he's always been like a fan favorite, and he's one of those feeds off the crowd type of energies. Daniel Bryan as the American Dragon was a straight killing force, like a Chuck Norris. He just goes in there and takes care of business.
It sure does. And if you're unfamiliar with the American Dragon, yeah, exactly. Get on YouTube and look at his Ring of Honor stuff.
Oh my God, some of the best Ring of Honor things you'll ever see. And fun fact, he was a heel for most of that run. So where we got the planetary champion Daniel Bryan, those roots come from the American Dragon heel run that he had. So just for that, TLC is a watch, at least a skip to this part alone viewing.
That's fair.
And it's interesting to see Bray Wyatt, hear the crowd be so lively. You got so many yowie wowie chants and let me in. Yep. I mean, the man is clearly over. And we were saying off camera, I've been a longtime Bray Wyatt fan. So have you.
Yes.
I've been since he's been with the Wyatt family. I've been a big, big, big fan. Because he was the Charles Manson of the WWE. He's currently evolving all the time, but subtly. I was so remiss when they took Bray Wyatt off of WWE TV for almost a year. When he was gone for that long, I was like, what the hell are they doing not having Bray Wyatt? And now I know he was perfecting this gimmick, and he was taking the time to put the care and the right into it. And he did, and it shows. And we just talked through all Broken Skull sessions, which is amazing. Bray Wyatt basically reinvented himself, and he had to.
Yeah.
In hindsight, if he had just come back after losing to Randy Orton and been thrown into other shit with, it would have just been terrible. They gave him the longest time after the Ultimate Deletion with Matt Hardy to come back. And look where he is now. He's at the top of the game. He is finally, in my view, I think he's going to go into WrestleMania as champion again, but this time he's not the underdog. I think he's going to go into as champion at WrestleMania. I have no idea who his feud's going to be. It won't be Daniel Bryan.
Undertaker. No,
it can't happen. There's no way.
As long as he doesn't get buried at yet another WrestleMania.
Right, because his streak at WrestleMania sucks. But yeah, so I mean, we've kind of covered a lot of stuff tonight. We've jumped around, and if you know us, that's what we do.
Absolutely.
Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan alone is worth the watch. It's fantastic. If you want some giggles, watch the main event.
Oh, yeah.
It was Botchamania at its finest. And we're gearing up for the Royal Rumble, which is my personal favorite pay-per-view of all time. I enjoy the Royal Rumble so much. It's my favorite.
Royal Rumbles have always had a good presence about them.
Yeah.
Always in January, new year, new opportunity.
Yep.
It officially kicks off WrestleMania season.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, Royal Rumbles. Even when I was in college and I wasn't able to catch Raw or SmackDown, I made sure that we kept up with the Royal Rumble.
Always the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble match itself is just some of the best booking you usually see throughout the year.
Yeah. Because
it's all in one match. And when it comes down to that final 4 or final 6, every time you're like, heart stops. Because it's who's going to do it. And it used to be a very formulaic, predictable thing where you're like, okay, this guy's the hottest guy going in. He's totally taking the Royal Rumble. But they finally bucked that trend, and it's been that way ever since. Royal Rumble 1999, I was a major, major mark for the business, and man, I never screamed so loud when McMahon threw out Stone Cold. I was so pissed for weeks at school. I mean, I was just
for weeks, and you didn't get the very next day when when he's sipping the beer. I'm going to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm going to WrestleMania. I was still bullshit. I was so mad that McMahon won because it was just so far fetched to me. But now you realize that what a great piece of booking that was.
That show, oh God, man, The Rock and Mankind.
Oh, it's just great. And ever since then, it's always been you don't know who's going to win the Royal Rumble because McMahon won it. Yeah. It could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
And any year, you also don't know if McMahon's just going to power walk to the ring and tear his quads. So on that note.
Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, like, share, subscribe. We have we have more content, as we said in this podcast, that we're going to commit to. Plus, you guys are going to get more shows from us, more reviews.
Yep.
Everything. Sports Smart Take Revolution, baby. We always kick out at 2.